What's good, bitches? It's Nelson, 1/3 of the Nobody's podcast with a very special mobile episode. I'm happy to be sitting with the 4 hottest professional femdoms in Toronto. The ladies of the Lotus, found at ladyazelle.com. They'll kick your balls if you beg nicely. I'm with Lady Azelle, Madam Dusk, Lady Delphine, and Miss Ava Rose. Welcome to the show, ladies.
Thank you. Thanks for having
me.
My pleasure. So, I would like to start by asking, what are your earliest memories of being a dominant? Because I'm sure this all started from your childhood.
Usually that's the way it goes, isn't it?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Azelle and I have a similar story, so do you want to share yours and I'll add mine?
You go first.
Okay.
And then
So I think the first time I can remember was probably like 6 or 7. And there was a boy in my neighborhood who was younger than I was, and I always liked to tie him up to the tree and leave him there, and him and his, like, his sister, and I would, like, tease him and leave him there and eat our snacks in front of him, so.
Yeah. Jane with your snacks.
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh, that's so fantastic.
He's in denial.
So do you know whatever happened to this boy?
Exactly.
No, I don't know. He moved when I was a teenager. I don't know where he's
Okay.
Yeah.
He's probably a hardcore sub. What if he's listening?
Maybe that's your client for tomorrow.
Probably has some incest fantasies too, it sounds like.
Yeah, that can happen.
Yeah.
His sister, eh?
His sister, yeah.
Interesting. What kind of snacks did you guys eat?
Apples and crackers mostly.
Okay.
Oh, that's so healthy.
That's
Pretty healthy, yeah. How about you, ladies, though?
Yeah, I've told these stories quite a few times. I have a similar story, tying up boys with skipping rope in the forested area behind the townhouse where I grew up. Same age, around 7. But my favorite memory is 2 brothers. Isn't that funny? More incest. There were 2 brothers in my neighborhood where I buried them in a pile of snow.
Yep.
And I told them, I'm going to go in for dinner now. My mom had called me out the window, right? Streetlights were on. You go in the house for dinner. And I told the brothers, do not move. If I see a crack in this snow pile, I will know that you moved.
Specific.
Yeah, it was very specific. I was probably a bit older, maybe 8 or 9, I'm thinking. And so I went in for dinner and honestly completely forgot about them. Ended up watching TV, right? Like what's on at the Muppet Show. It was like a big hit back then. I don't know, Sunday night. And I never did know how long they stayed in the snow.
Did you go out afterwards?
No, I didn't go out. I watched TV. I went for my bath. It was bedtime. So.
But then when you came back, they were gone?
They were, yeah,
like
which was like the next day.
Okay.
And I always like to say at the end of that story that is the last time I've left one of my prisoners unattended without follow-up.
Nice.
Yeah.
My story is a bit less... Okay, when...
Incestual?
Yeah, well, sort of. Okay, so when me and my younger sister were... I was about 8, she was maybe about 5 or 6. She used to always make me play Barbies with her, even though I had really no interest in Barbies. I was more of a tomboy. And I remember one time I managed to convince her to do a kidnapping plot with the Barbies where we, like, tied their, like, arms and legs with, like, hair ties. And that's, like, my, like, clearest memory of being like, oh, yeah, kink is fun. But...
All my Barbies were gay because I wasn't allowed to have a Ken because no premarital sex, right?
Oh.
Like being raised in such a Christian household. So they're all lesbians. And they would all, like, they would all...
Now, right?
Yeah, and it was just on them. And I know, like, the maid was always targeted. Yeah, she was kind of...
Right, because there's always the naughty maid.
She was the naughty maid. Yes, always.
What about you, Miss Ava Rose?
I started a little bit later. I didn't discover kink until after I started having vanilla sex.
Okay.
So when I started having sex, I was about 14. And I would like it a little bit rougher, like a little bit of choking, like my partner holding down my hands. Until one day, my dance partner ended up asking me to go with him to a fetish party. And at the time, I was a little more alternative. I was a little goth. And I was very up to trying something new. And so he took me to this party. And I have told this part of the story quite a few times because it is my favorite. So I jumped right in. I went to this party in a schoolgirl outfit. He took me into the dungeon. He actually spanked me.
Oh, so you started as a sub?
No, I didn't know anything. So he's like, I'm going to do this to you a little bit, and then I want to turn it around. And I'm like, okay. So he was spanking me. I'm like, not really into that. maybe I want to hurt you now. So then he sat down on the spanking bench and coached me through my first CBT experience with my high heels. So I kicked him in the balls, and I stepped on his penis with my high heels, and he ended up coming in the club.
Okay.
And after that, I was just like eyes wide open. Oh my God, this is the magical world of kink. And I just haven't really stopped since then. It was just very much eye-opening and a wonderful experience.
So you made a connection to kink right away. Did you girls make a connection to kink right away? Because you were much younger. So
Much younger, absolutely. Yeah, you say you started having vanilla sex.
Yeah.
And that was kind of my experience as well.
But were you like
I guess,
tripped out by it at all, or like you standing there eating snacks? Like, do you know what was like driving that?
Oh, no, I don't know, but like, I said to them earlier yesterday, we were talking about this, I haven't had like a conventional relationship, so I feel like things just happen naturally without having like the word association. Like, I didn't know I was kinky, but I knew I wasn't doing things my friends were doing.
Yeah.
So it was just, I was doing something different, and then once I got that language, I was like, oh, okay, so this is kink, and there's like dom and sub relations, and yeah, so I was probably like 16 or so by the time I actually like understood what
made the connection.
Yeah.
How about you?
I actually, for me, getting like fully into kink was through discovering porn, because I like became a porn addict almost immediately. I needed such like new things, and immediately branched out into stuff like, you know, like heavy bondage, electrocution, like, you know, like, immediately like just like there was maybe a 1 month period where I watched vanilla porn, and then after that it was just like all the crazy, you know, stuff. But I remember relationship wise, recently I was thinking back on it, and all my previous relationships, when things got serious, I would give them a necklace as a gift, and I realized I was subconsciously collaring my girlfriends.
Interesting.
That's a very cute story.
Yeah.
How about you, ladies? When did you make the connection?
I was doing BDSM for decades before I knew that it was BDSM.
Okay.
Not even as a lifestyle, it was just part of my dynamic. You know, I've told the story before about having an older boyfriend when I was 19, and he gave me the book that's on that shelf over there called Dick for a Day, and he had a foot fetish, and that was kind of my first BDSM porn. I wrote a bit about that in my article that's going to be published in Kink Queens in a few months, just kind of my story. Nice. Yeah, and like I made my own strap-on with my little vibrator and stockings tied around my hips and bent him over his mom's sofa. I had no idea what a strap-on was until like a few years ago, right? But that's when I was like in my late teens, so... Yeah, I was definitely doing BDSM in lots of different ways, but I didn't have a label for it until a few years ago, really. And then it all made sense, the light bulb moment, that these girls had a little bit earlier than me because they had the internet. Right? A little bit older.
The internet's at fault for a lot of submissions.
Yeah, for sure. And I definitely see that trend now where there's a lot of our younger clients who know a lot about BDSM that wouldn't have happened. Right, like 20, 30 years ago, because I hear the stories of the older clients and their process of writing the letter to the address in the back of the magazine, having to go to Quebec, drive to Montreal just to get the magazine and write the hand letter to see a dom and have them write back. So it's a very different culture now, right, with internet. And so, so the young boys.
1993 and more
onward. The official launch date of the internet.
Official launch date of BDSM.
I have wanted to put an ad in the paper, though, because I just want to have like a little clipping of my ad having been in the paper. Yeah.
You should do that. What paper would that be?
Now Magazine has a lot of stuff. Yeah. That's the one I'm like shooting for, but they have their own version back page now.
Yeah, the back page is the same as now.
Yeah. I tried to do the crossword with my girlfriend until like you have to go through like 3 pages of like escort ads first.
Yeah.
It's fun.
So what are your favorite types of sessions?
We're all looking at me.
Let's start with me.
We were talking about the slicing of the salami, so people are really intrigued now.
Sticking salamis in places where they should be. That's one.
It's a fetish.
I'm officially making salami stuffing a fetish.
Where would you stuff the salami?
Where would I stuff the salami? What can I and can I not say?
You can say double-ended.
Yeah, it's the internet.
No, we're rated explicit. So
Okay, good. So I definitely have a thing about double-ended stuff. So
Okay.
Learning this.
double-ended salami in two subs' butts, and they have to wrestle or
fantastic.
something. That would be really fun.
Yeah.
Or there's like a little tie in the middle, so it's kind of like tug of war, except
Yes. See who wins.
reverse.
And the loser has to lick the salami
Yes.
residue out of the other.
Greediest asshole. Taking my salami.
Now, would you talk about heart limits before this contest?
Yes, of course.
No, they have their safe word. It's
Yeah.
good to go.
Well, the safe word probably won't be required until the salami loser is
Licking.
That's probably where the reality hits.
We make boys do things they
Yes.
never imagined doing.
This is a session you haven't done yet.
No, it's not,
How
but I
about
would
when you
love to.
have
It'd be
experience?
amazing.
If there's any volunteers,
Any
please
volunteers,
contact.
contact us. One of my favorite kind of sessions is a medical play session. I've been recently getting into it a lot more. So doing things like sounding,
Okay.
strapping up somebody to a flat surface and having them not move at all, and then me just doing whatever I want to them. Doing a little bit of electrocution in the medical play session, as well as using speculums, a little bit of needles here and there, although I don't do much blood play.
Okay.
It's just so much fun.
Can you
to
explain to the
really
listeners what sounding is?
what sounding is? So sounding is shoving a giant metal rod down the urethra of a man.
With lots of lube.
Yes, with lots of medical
Sterilized.
lube.
In incremental sizes.
Gradually.
But the bigger the better.
So is that something that the sub would train up for?
Yes.
The different sizes?
Yes.
Okay.
So you start out small. I usually get rid of the first couple sizes because you can really hurt somebody.
Oh, okay.
So I start with like number 3, and then I work my way up. It's really fun because for me, what gets me in sounding is reverse violation.
Okay.
So when a man enters a woman, he's essentially violating her in a penetrative way.
Consensual violation.
Consensual violation. But he's penetrating
sure.
her. So it's the other way around when I'm doing sounding. I'm penetrating the man. And so I think that that's a really cool power exchange. I really
So does
enjoy
that mean you're into strap-on play too?
I love strap-on play.
Same idea? Is
Yeah,
that right? Okay.
definitely. And that's why I also enjoy speculums, because it's also a very cold invasion, and I love it. Love it so much.
Cool. I can see the excitement.
I'm just lighting up.
Yeah, you're glowing.
Yeah. But yeah, pegging is also one of my favorite things. I love doing pegging sessions. So like a sissy pegging session together is one of my favorites. It's so good.
So what year did it go from strap-on to pegging?
Sorry?
Strap-on to pegging. Like that's
The term?
kind of a new term, isn't it?
Well, it's like strap-on is the item, pegging is the action, right?
Okay.
Like,
That makes sense.
yeah, because I don't think you'd call it strap-on-ing.
And I also think pegging is maybe more of a bit of a vanilla term,
Yeah.
right? Because I think a lot of couples who are not into
Board games.
BDSM.
You're pegging.
Oh, really? I think
like,
a lot
you
of
know.
couples will incorporate pegging or use that term in the
Okay.
relationship outside of a BDSM context.
Yeah. Like, it's definitely becoming more and more popular.
Yeah, it's
Which is
true.
good. There's definitely a move towards, like, guys being more acceptive of, like, anal play, which is kind of nice.
That's true.
And it was recently showed in Deadpool, the movie.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Yes, that was
So
hilarious.
Yeah.
So it's integrating into pop culture.
Oh,
And,
yeah. That was a good movie.
And Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh.
I know. It's just
There's also an episode of the show Marco Polo on Netflix that has like an ancient Chinese pegging scene,
Oh,
and
right.
it's the only episode I've watched from that show. But
You saw it on YouTube. There's the clip there.
well, no, a friend advised me to watch the episode the show specifically for that scene, and I was like, I'm just gonna watch that episode. And the whole time, the episode was really just like everyone telling Marco Polo to shut up, and then the pegging scene. And I mostly agreed with everyone telling Marco Polo to shut up. So I was like, I don't think I'll like this show all too much. But the scene was great.
Cool.
So what about your favorite scene?
I've been really getting into like sissification and like forced feminization lately, and pegging, of course. But those they kind of tie in together quite a bit. Yeah, it's something that like I wasn't sure about at first, and then once I like did it as a session, like really enjoyed it and found that like, yeah, this is nice.
You, Lisa?
If I have to pick one, I'm going to say trampoline.
Ooh, yeah.
Because, no, but we don't have time to list all of my favorites. I mean, it sounds cheesy to say I like everything I do, but I do. I do love it all. But there's something about the feel of a man's flesh under my toes, between my toes, that is just really, really erotic and amazing. Better than walking on the beach, better than sand in your toes. And I do have a client whose name is Floor, and I jump on him from heights, and I just think it's just so much fun, and I'm always so amazed. He's a small man. I'm not a small girl, and he takes my full weight from a height, jumping on him over and over again, and I'm always so astounded at the resilience. But actually, your bone structure can change, or your bone density can change from excessive from trampling. Really? And he started quite young, so he's in his 60s. So it's been a good 40 years. So I'm wondering, like,
does he have a strong core? Like,
he's a small dude. He probably weighs less than me.
So it's just the bone density.
It's really, I'm assuming, nothing's broken yet. So yet. Keyword? No. If it hasn't broken yet, it's not gonna osteoporosis.
Yeah, when he's 80, he'll be like,
perhaps.
Maybe. Yeah.
But you, Lady Delphine?
Probably I like really traditional, like, BDSM, corporal punishment, role-playing, like, schoolgirl stuff. Like, I like being the headmistress or something that makes you write your lines and bend you over your desk and spank you. Which is funny because I'm, like, 5'0", but I can scare some people with a pad on the flogger.
Mm-hmm. I believe that.
I believe that as well.
You look sweet, but...
I know. That's the fun of it.
Yeah. The more I start giggling, the worse trouble you're in. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can definitely identify with that. Yeah. That's something I do as well.
If I crack a smile, it's probably not good.
It's danger time?
Yep. Danger time.
The stop word's going to come out soon. Any fetishes that didn't appeal to you at first, but then became an interest after you tried it?
Madam Dusk has a good one for this. That was her question.
Oh yeah, well I already sort of talked about this with the sissification, but I guess I'll go and
talk about it again.
Yeah, I'll go again. So yeah, it was something that like at first I was sort of hesitant about, just because like I don't know. I feel like especially like the idea of like sissification, where it's like humiliating to be feminized, sort of bugged me, Okay. But I realized that like a lot of it is more just about the appeal of appearing female, and it's not so much being like feminine in like a negative light. But one of the things I noticed after I've done forced feminization sessions is that I've gotten better at applying my own makeup from applying it on guys. Okay. And yeah, so now I'm like, okay, I want to like buy like this, and this, and practice, and like look up tutorials, and like get really good at it.
For me, something that I didn't think that I would enjoy at all, and it actually kind of grossed me out, was needle play. Because growing up, I always associated needles with going to the doctor and something that hurt a lot, and I didn't like it at all. But once I discovered my sadist side, I was very much looking forward to trying it again and seeing what would happen. So when I tried doing needlework, obviously under supervision and with somebody who knew what they were doing, inserting the needles wasn't a problem, but removing them and seeing the blood was. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I had to take a step back and collect myself. And when I returned to doing it, I was totally fine. And ever since then, I've been like trying my best to learn more about needles and to practice and learn new ways of applying them and using them to hurt someone. And that's, like I said, it appeals to my sadist side, and that's why I've grown to enjoy it more.
Interesting.
Yeah. Whereas before I was super grossed out. I was like, no, I'll never do that.
That sadist theme keeps coming out.
Yeah. Me? Never.
I thought I was going to be nervous about needle play, and then when I went in, I was like, yeah, human pincushion, let's go. Like, immediately excited.
See, I find needle play to be really relaxing and cathartic. Like, it's not even like a sadistic thing. It's like, I'm meditating. And, like, that's what you were saying, too, Azelle. It's just, like, you could put on music, and if, like, your sub's down for it, you could spend an hour just, like, slowly doing it.
I'm going to do that tonight, I think.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's exciting.
Lovely.
I think this isn't quite answering the question. I think I went the opposite way. I think when I first started as a pro-dom, I was so excited about everything. Okay. And I did it all, and I explored it all. And I think with time and just getting to know myself better, I've narrowed it down and kind of explored things that don't really excite me and things that I am very passionate about. That's kind of been my journey. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and I find it's one of those things, like, I've gotten questions from clients being like, well, what do you enjoy the most? And it's like, well, if I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't put it on my list.
Yeah, like, exactly. Yeah, same with me. Like, the session request form on my website, those are all my interests, and those are all things that I'm training to do. Yep. If it's not there, chances are I'm not going to do it if you ask for it. Mm-hmm. Although there's always exceptions to that rule. I think, depending on dynamic and chemistry and relationship, I've definitely, done things such as baby play within a context that worked for me, even though that's not something that I offer in general to people that I don't have a rapport with. Yeah.
For me, on my website, I have a list of services that are just kind of suggestions to inspire you. Mm-hmm. So what I do is I take every request under consideration. And if it's not something that I'm trained in or not something that I'm interested in, I'll just let the sub know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it never hurts to ask, boys.
Exactly.
Gotta put that in there because, the dynamic might be right or...
Things change.
Yeah.
Moods change.
And also when I get a request that isn't in line with something I enjoy, then I will refer a client to someone I know.
Yeah, I've done that as well.
Which is one of the great things about the four of us working together as a team, right? Because we all have different interests and... areas of expertise and things that we enjoy, passions. So,
how did you guys all meet?
Oh, how did we meet?
Okay, well, I met Miss Ava Rose through one of her partners who was with me at a fetish wrestling event when I was learning to fetish wrestle. Yeah. And me and him were like goofing around. And it was funny because he clarified that he was a dom, and then we were having some dom off in like the middle of like break where like we were both like getting in each other's face and being all aggressive, but I didn't know him well enough, so I was like, oh shit, like, is he gonna pummel me? He's like, like 6'2", like rock muscle, and I'm like, 5'4", like kind of on the skinny side, like on my tiptoes, like all puffed up, and like and I was seriously worried he was gonna like just like swing at me.
I'm excited about my partner there. Ooh.
It was a lot of fun.
And I met Lady Azelle at the FDSA month.
That's what I was going to say. I think it was the FDSA social.
And Lady Delphine I met through Lady Azelle. Officially at your spring party.
Yes.
Which is just a few weeks ago.
Quickly passing at the door one day.
Yeah.
We swapped space for a second.
We did.
Yeah.
What is the most unusual thing you've made someone ingest? We'll start with the laughing.
Everybody's looking at me.
Yeah. I've got a good story too. You go first.
So I have this one client that is obsessed with my dirty, smelly socks. Okay. And it takes me over 2 weeks to prepare these socks for this man. He absolutely loves them. As soon as he smells them, rock hard. So one day, in order to take it to the next level, at Studio Lotus, I ended up removing my socks. I put one of them in his mouth, and then I took a bowl, and I put the other dirty, smelly, sweaty sock in the bowl of water and microwaved it. So I made him smelly sock tea.
Wow.
Yummy.
Yes. And then I hog-tied him, his wrists to his ankles, and made him drink it. With the sock still in the water, it running down his face, and it was so disgusting. He was gagging the entire time. And I was just laughing
You have
at
no
him.
choice when you're hog type.
Maniacally. It was my favorite thing.
Not a lot of room for
That's
negotiation.
your favorite. So
Yes.
Most memorable.
But I
Has he
also-
been back to you since then?
Absolutely. I'm actually seeing him again on Sunday. I'm wearing socks right now for him.
To the gym all week. I did a scene a few years ago, and this is like one of my most memorable scenes. Super fun. My client wanted to be forced to eat seafood. He absolutely hates anything from the
I'll
sea.
sign up for that.
Fish. Yeah, you hate seafood, do you?
No, I absolutely love it.
And he also disclosed that he loves steak. So I made this scene with him. I went shopping at the grocery store before meeting him. I purchased lots of wonderful, smelly, fishy things. And I made him this beautiful lunch. We had a lunch date at my studio at the time. And in the dog bowl, I put tuna. I put marshmallow fluff. I put sliced bananas. I sprinkled it with lime jello powder. I put some sardines on top with a beautiful glass of oyster juice. Or oyster water, yes. And then I fried up a nice big juicy steak for myself with mushrooms and onions. And I forced him to eat this tuna marshmallow concoction. I force-fed it to him while he had nipple clamps on under my feet. And I ate the beautiful steak.
Oh,
and then he was going on a business trip right after that scene. And I told him that he was not permitted to have steak for like the next week while he was out of town. So that was fun. I liked that.
That is evil, and I love it.
Yeah. So like one of the best lunch dates I've ever had. Yeah.
Everything tastes better first time.
It does.
Yeah.
Well, no, he was gagging. Like it was horrendous. It was so much fun.
What about you, Lady Duffy? I've done, it's not as menacing as that, but
You still have time.
yeah, lots of good ideas. But I've done cold, like, canned beans off my feet before, which is really mushy and
Yuck.
gross.
That's
Because
really
then you stomp on it, make it, like, even gooier.
And you have to lick it from in between your toes.
Yeah. It's even better if you don't, like, wash your feet that day, too. Walk around the studio barefoot first. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Very creative ladies in the room.
You have to be. It's part of the fun. It is a gift. Yeah.
Which celebrity, dead or alive, would you want to peg?
Jude Law, Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr.
Oh.
She puts on it.
I was thinking about this last night.
Is that an order of preference?
No.
All at the same time?
Yeah,
All at the same
line them
time.
up.
I think I'm going to have to say George Clooney because A, I have daddy issues and I like older men.
Okay.
And B, I would love his gorgeous, gorgeous wife to watch
Ooh.
while I fuck the shit out of him. And also, he's kind of pretty and would look really good with a gag in his mouth.
We've all been thinking about this question over years.
Yeah. I was thinking about it excessively last
Somebody's
night.
thinking about it right now.
Probably, I had an issue with this, but Jensen Ackles or Mads Mikkelsen. Because I want to hear him, like, dirty talk to me, and then I want to, like, shove something in his mouth.
Oh, Mads has such a beautiful voice,
he does,
too.
yeah.
Add him to my list.
Lady Azelle, do you have one?
Oh, I don't have a good one. But if I had to come up with one, I would say Jim Morrison.
Oh, that's
Because
good.
he's just so dirty, hot, rebellious. It'd be great to dominate him. And we're both Sagittarius, so. It's true. We're like almost perfect
That's
twins.
I wouldn't be surprised if he took it in the ass when he was singing.
Oh, for sure he did. Didn't he drink blood or something? Remember the movie? I don't know. For sure. That was one kinky dude.
Yeah, he probably was.
For sure.
Would you get him to sing while you were pegging him?
Come on, baby, light my fire. Definitely.
What is the best thing you enjoy about being a prodom?
Goodness.
There's so many things.
Yeah.
We just covered that, actually.
Pegging celebrities?
If only.
Force feeding them.
One thing I enjoy about being a prodom is just the amount of experiences I get to have in such a short amount of time. And then personally, I am very much I like to study people and how they behave. It's my own personal interest. So it's very interesting for me to see a vast array of different types of people and figure out what they're into. Because a lot of people that come to us kind of hide this from people in their lives.
Do you think you could spot a sub if you were like in a lineup of people like waiting at the bank? Do you think you could like pick them out?
Maybe not out of sight, but with a very limited interaction, probably.
Yeah.
Like if you were to say a choice word and that person reacted in a certain way,
Right.
sub right away. Yeah. So I really enjoy studying people. So then I guess what I love is the experiences that I get to have because I do this professionally.
Well, you get to see a side that nobody else in the world sees.
Exactly.
Which is pretty awesome and special and unique. And I'm similar to that. My favorite thing about being a prodom is just having the ability to create the safe space for people to explore a part of themselves that they can't share with a lot of people. And just the relationships that you build when you do that, right? Something else I've been really passionate about lately is working with couples. I think it's just such an incredible experience to be able to contribute to the growth of a relationship between two partners. And I've been having a lot of requests lately for that, I'd say like over the past 6 months, past year, where I've developed very good rapport with a lot of wives, where we're collaborating together to train their husbands. They send me their husbands, or I'm doing hands-on workshops with couples to develop the skills in the relationship. So I think that's pretty awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's sort of a combination of everything that's been said and sort of being able to, like, curate this experience for someone. Like, I find, like, my session planning has really become sort of an art where, like, I plan, you know, this, like, crescendo and climax and then, you know, cool down. And it's, like... And also sort of the challenge of, like, getting a list of fetishes from a client. And, you know, sometimes they're really, like, all over the place. And sometimes it's only a few. And then I have to sit there and be like, okay, you know, if I do this and this and this and make sure it fits the time and, like, I don't know.
Integrate it all together?
Yeah.
It's a great outlet, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's very, like... It's controlling, too, and I'm very much a control freak, so it's, like, both, like, the creative, the controlling, and the planning are all things I like.
And making our own schedule.
Yeah.
That's a pretty great.
so nice.
Being able to do that self-care that you can't do when you work a 9 to 5, I think is a rarity in today's society.
Yeah, I mean... A couple sessions back, like, after the session ended and it was sort of my, like, cool-down period, I spent most of it jumping up and down in glee because I was just so, like, it was such a good session. I felt so happy. And I was like, man, I never did that when I worked retail.
Yeah.
Like, slogged home, you know? Like,
and I think
great.
one of the best things about being a prodom is that you have that time for self-care, like you said. And you also... Who really enjoys what they do when they do a 9 to 5? And I have the luxury of having something that I love so much make me money. And it's just so wonderful that...
While contributing to people's quality of life.
Absolutely. And it's very rewarding all around.
And I mean, additionally for us, too, we get to work with, like, brilliant people. Like, every time we do double scenes, you learn from each other.
Yeah, so true.
And how often do you get to work with, you know, a group of women that are just solely for empowering you and building you up? And I think that's great.
Yeah, and there's also this element of, like, bringing your fantasies to life. Like, I mean, I started sort of really getting into BDSM after the whole porn thing by writing erotica, and now I get to sort of live the kind of stuff I would write about, you know?
Yeah, very cool.
So how about on the flip side, most difficult thing about being a prodom?
On a serious note, I'm going to say when those relationships come to an end, because you can develop very close relationships with your clients, and sometimes those relationships end for a variety of reasons. Perhaps they have found a relationship where they feel like they need to stop sessioning. Clients get married, they find a lifestyle dom that has collared them, and then they no longer see me, or perhaps the dynamic is just no longer working for me. I have had a few clients where I've had to end the relationship because for whatever reason it was no longer working for me. So yeah, that's tough. It almost feels like a little breakup, right? Or that you're losing a person who's very important in your life. So that's tough. On a less serious side, one of the most difficult things about being a pro-dom is getting things just right for a toilet training session. Because I am telling you, if I am training one of my submissives to be a toilet, which means ingesting my urine or golden nectar, as we say, golden champagne. Notice none of us said that was the craziest thing we made someone to ingest, because that's pretty much a normal thing that we made people to ingest. So just getting the timing just right? Because I'll be drinking gallons of water before the scene. Then I'll be drinking tons of water throughout the scene. We'll get to the toilet training piece. Okay, I've used him as my toilet. He is flushed to my satisfaction. Client will leave. I'm pissing for the next 4 hours. So, like, to get that...
So you should charge him for a double session, because the session doesn't end when he leaves.
And I'm spending, 2 hours after the end of the session on the toilet. So... Yeah, it's very important to be a well-hydrated dom at all times. I think that's pretty important in getting that. It's a science. And I don't personally offer scat, which is either having feces on the submissive or having the submissive eat feces. I guess that's a hard limit for all of us. It sounds like it. Okay, but it's not a hard limit for all doms. And I do understand how hot that could be from the humiliation aspect, but it's just personally not something that I'm comfortable doing. Because if I can't get piss on a good schedule, that's not happening.
The song Scatman has been ruined for me because of that.
Scatman.
Does he know what he's singing about? Does he realize how that song has changed meaning?
It's, because we're perverted, so
Clearly
we view it a little bit differently. I think that's funny.
One of my least favorite things is client requests that are very, very, very specific. Because then the client holds you to that standard. And how are you to know exactly what it is that they're thinking because of their very specific...
You mean scripted stuff? Or specific scenario as it plays out in their head?
Both.
Both. And I get emails that are very long, very, very descriptive, and it's kind of... It doesn't leave room for my creativity.
Right.
And that's part of what I really enjoy about my job, is that I get to be creative. And so when I'm unable to do that, it makes it a little less enjoyable for me. And I don't know.
Well, because there's probably some of it that you enjoy the flow of the session, right?
And my style is very ebb and flow.
Okay.
So I love to start the session slow, ramp it up, go take a little break, ramp it up again. Whereas with very scripted sessions, I don't get a chance to do that.
I find that very difficult as well. But then I try to have empathy for the client because they have these fantasies. And I think a lot of times clients don't really understand the role of a pro-dom. They think that we're maybe porn stars or that it's our job to fulfill their fantasy exactly as they want, that we're actors, and we're not, right? No. We're not actors in their fantasy. That's not really what being with a dominant woman is about. So,
And the fact that I enjoy what I do so much, it plays a big part in that. Because if I don't, like I said before, if I don't have room to be creative, where does the enjoyment come out of the session for me?
And they're just going to have such a better experience if they leave it to us.
Exactly.
Right? Like, you're going to have a lot more fun if you just let us do our thing. But I also understand, it's a significant amount of money to be spending on a short period of time. And they want to have the experience that they're looking for, right? It's a tough one.
You guys haven't touched on Dom Drop. Do you have experienced that at all?
I have, actually, and it was one of those things where, I didn't notice until, way later. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't a significant Dom drop. I was just sort of in a mood for the day afterwards. But I found the opposite. I end up, riding a high after sessions, which the jumping up and down. I get really, you get
euphoric.
But I find that cleaning after a scene helps me just get back into a headspace if something went wrong, or if I wasn't really feeling it, or if something just felt off the cleaning. like putting everything back in its place, making my notes for like next time. That's not like help for myself.
I've never dropped, but I've definitely been in Domme Space, where I'm doing corporal punishment, and I had to, my inner voice is like, okay, time to stop. Because I was just so into it, where I was almost
going to town on the guy.
I was just going to town, and it's a well-established relationship. So I've known him for years, and I think because of that, I'm a bit more comfortable to kind of let myself go. And yeah, I was flogging or whipping or something, and I was so just into it. I had to kind of access that inner dungeon monitor that all doms have to have, right? And just say, okay, that's enough. Like, time to stop. And it was actually difficult to do that because it was just so fucking hot and great. And he probably would have taken it. He would have taken it all for me. I know that. But as a dominant, you have that responsibility to keep your clients safe and keep your submissive safe, right? So you have to be always monitoring what's going on mentally, emotionally. Yeah, it's really
with great power becomes great responsibility.
For sure.
So the ladies of the Lotus.
Lotus.
Oh,
You know what a lotus is, Nelson?
A flower, I think?
No, that's the lotus. That's why you're fucking up.
That's why I keep calling it that.
It's not the ladies of the Lotus.
Ludus?
Yeah.
Tell me about
Do you know
that.
what a ludus is?
No, I have no idea.
So a ludus, because my name, my last name, Lanista, Lady Azelle Lanista. A Lanista is responsible for training Roman gladiators.
Okay.
And the Ludus is the school where gladiators are trained.
Oh,
okay, you got it?
I got it now.
It is very clever.
I'll just avoid it from now on.
Yeah. The ladies of the...
It's my accent.
It's your accent.
So what makes it special? I mean, it is a unique setup. I haven't seen something... you see, like, I guess studios that doms rent out, but they don't really interact. And ladies seem to have a good relationship.
We should punish you for calling us girls, but
Capital.
I was
Capital G. That's better.
I was thinking about this, and I find that like we're all like very like distinct personalities that like mix well together. You know, there's definitely no like. I mean, even though Lady Azelle is technically the boss, there's no like hierarchy amongst us, right?
Boss. I've just put in the time.
I'm like.
Yeah, the headmistress.
Yeah.
Don't call me headmistress. I don't care for this.
I don't care for mistress in general.
No,
because of the adultery.
Yeah, it's true. None of us do.
I don't like mistress.
No, none of us use
Nobody
mistress.
uses it.
No,
Lady, madam.
I prefer to be called miss.
Yeah.
I like madame.
That's interesting.
So like,
My lady, my goddess.
We're so non-traditional.
my goddess is
I
Goddess
say
is
towards
fine.
goddess.
Domina. I like domina.
Domina's good too.
Domina just like fits the whole like
It's
nudist
hot.
thing though.
Yeah, which is kind of my thing.
Yeah.
Traditional.
But yeah,
So, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I think that having the four of us be together is interesting and different because we, like Madame Dusk was saying, we all have different personalities and something different to offer. And you can combine two of us or three of us and four of us and have a totally elevated experience because there's people that are so different but are friendly with each other and understand each other and support each other, and then sessions can flower and bloom and be
So it's supportive,
amazing.
not competitive.
No,
exactly.
Yes.
Different, not better.
Now, let me ask you this. If a sub came to see you and then the next week came to see one of the others, would you get offended or upset?
No, absolutely not.
No.
Because perhaps
I would
something-
encourage it.
Yeah,
Encourage the exploration.
because perhaps something that I offer and that I enjoy is not something that he enjoyed, and he might prefer one of the other girls to it. It's all...
And it's great for submissives, just personal exploration of knowing themselves to try different people's styles, right? I was actually very surprised that when I added the Ladies of the Lotus to my website, a lot of my regular boys who have been seeing me for a while started sessioning with them, which I think is absolutely fantastic, but I just didn't really anticipate that would be a dynamic that would happen. And yeah, I think it's absolutely terrific. And my regular boys who are loyal to me would request my permission or my blessing to session with one of the other ladies, which I would, absolutely encourage that exploration. I think it's fantastic. And like, everyone is saying, I do think that we complement each other very well. We all have different looks, which is kind of cool, right? It's like Charlie's Angels +1, but
2.0.
Yeah, exactly.
Spice Girls, maybe?
With the capital G. I think another thing that I really love about the four of us is I feel like we're all doing it authentically. We're doing it for the right reasons, and we're doing it well. We all consider our professionalism to be important, the way that we interact with submissives, safety, training, and just our general philosophy about BDSM. I think we're all on the same page, which is so important, right? Because there's a lot of people that are doing professional domination improperly, unsafely, in my opinion, not really understanding the art and the craft of BDSM. And I think we all have that going for us.
Right? You've got to go to workshops.
Well, sure, absolutely. And it takes a maturity, right? It takes a maturity and the wisdom to do this and do this well. And I feel like even though we're all quite different ages and there's some range in our ages, we're all have the experience and background to make us excel at doing this well.
And there's also a lot of self-security and assurance that you need to have to be able to do this job. I mean, because there's constantly time wasters trying to get you down and take advantage of you, and clients who are crappy and all this stuff.
Societal judgment.
Yeah, societal judgment too. I mean, I'm in the art field, so I don't really get the societal judgment part. Everyone's just like, it's so cool. And I have a food delivery sub, and everyone's like, I want one of those. And they're like, wait.
You can have one.
But I think what Madame Dusk is saying contributes to us supporting each other as well.
Yeah.
Because even though we are just starting this relationship, there's a lot of potential for us to be more like a family.
And a community. Yeah, for sure. Because working in the sex trade in general, especially as prodoms, it can be very isolating, right? I've talked to a lot of prodoms, and I've gotten to know a lot in Toronto, and everyone kind of says the same thing. You're not working with a team, you're working one-on-one, right? And you're working in isolation, and you may experience isolation from society as well. So I think it's pretty awesome to have that support system in place and have that sense of community.
Yeah, and I think it's fantastic. Our energies vibed organically. It wasn't we had to force our relationship.
Yeah,
I absolutely think everything. I know it's so cheesy, but everything happens when it's supposed to happen. But it's really very interesting, I think, because I've seen that in my career and my life, my personal life as well. But in my career, things just kind of come together as they're meant to be. I started talking to Ava about coming and working at Studio Lotus ages ago, just because I know she's so brilliant at what she does before I even met, the other two, and it just kind of came together when it was meant to be, when the timing was right for all four of us.
So you guys have an event on June 10th, I believe. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
We're very excited. We're doing some planning just last night after we did a photo shoot together. Now, Miss Ava Rose needs to say the name because she says it so beautifully in Italian.
Oh my gosh, what is it?
Okay, so you're the one we did teamwork. We're hosting, the ladies at Lotus are hosting a VIP Feroce Quartetto.
Oh, so it's the VIP Feroce Quartetto.
Thank you.
There we go.
Which means it's going to be an opera.
It is going to be an opera.
We're going to play the boys like instruments.
Yeah. Absolutely. So we're really excited. June 10th, which is coming up soon. And so basically what we're going to be doing is a group scene. So this event is open to 12 lucky male submissives. First come, first serve. And so we're going to be doing a group scene together, 4 hours with the four of us. And we're going to just do all kinds of wonderful, dirty fun. And
the ferocious quartet.
The ferocious, quartet. That is the translation.
So will all 12 people be in the full 4 hours? Or is it rotating? Okay.
Unless they chicken.
No, full 4 hours. So what we're doing here is I host open play parties 3 times a year where those events are open to anyone in the community, vanilla, fetish, whatever that may be. Boys who attend that will pay the cover fee. They may get 10 minutes of play. They may have the opportunity to serve. They may be a footstool. They may be able to give a dominant woman a foot rub at the end of the night. But this is a little bit different than the open play parties I host because this is getting all of our attention for a total of 4 hours. It's not, come, maybe you'll get played. This is going to be a group scene based on interests and limits, which we're going to plan ahead of time. So when the boys arrive, they're going to be numbered. We are going to make sure that everyone is safe, that physical limitations are being considered. We will all know ahead of time who has what interest, and so we're just going to be doing group activities every hour. If you've always dreamed of being the toilet of 4 beautiful goddesses for 4 hours, we are taking applications for human toilet for this event, right?
Yes.
This is a thing.
And I think we'll need a table and
we need tables and chairs and floors and some other things.
Some
but I don't know if we want.
Sounds like a great networking event.
Yeah, it's it's a great opportunity, and it's not an opportunity that exists anywhere else. It's also going to be a little bit more affordable than, let's say, a one-to-one session with one of us. So keep your eyes peeled for the invitation. Invites should probably go out by the end of the month. Just waiting to get some images back from the photo shoot we did together yesterday.
Yeah.
And if you want to be the first to find out all of the details about this event, you can go to my website, ladyazelle.com, scroll down on the home page, and sign up for my newsletter, because I'll be sending out a newsletter relatively soon with all the details. So it's going to be a really awesome time. Great opportunity.
delicious fun times for everybody.
So excited.
So to get on that list, you just visit the website and then the newsletter?
Well, if you sign up for my newsletter, you'll always be the first to know about any events that are being hosted at Studio Lotus, my play parties, this event. I do special events from time to time, and also just to stay up to date with all of, for all of us. You can sign up for my newsletter. I'll also be posting it on Twitter, Instagram. Those are the social medias that we all use. But it's first come, first serve, boys. So 12 spots only VIP, and if you don't get in this time, we'll probably do it again, I would imagine.
Probably.
And so that again is ladyazelle.com, and Azelle is spelled Azelle. Mm-hmm. And to finish off, I want to thank you, ladies, for the time. It's been fun. I hope you enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, so great.
I think it's the first time I've been with 4 dominatrixes at the same time in a room. Dominatrixes. Is it dominatrixes or dominatrixes?
Dominatrixes.
Yes.
I think it's dominatrixes.
Yeah.
Is
every
it?
time I've written paper, it's been dominatrixes.
Yeah, you would know.
And or trouble.
Okay.
Exactly.
You can just call us trouble.
Yeah.
4 of us. Absolutely.
I'd like to finish off with a game.
Oh, yes, the game.
Oh, yes, okay.
Lady Azelle and I played this the first time I interviewed her. So it's
And I failed miserably.
Oh, no.
So it's Porn Star or My Little Pony.
I've been watching more porn and more My Little Pony since then.
To study. Decent flashcards.
Yeah, let's enter as a team. So there's 10 of them. I will say out a name.
Yes.
And you tell me if it's the name of a porn star or the name of a My Little
Can
Pony.
we have like a huddled discussion and like come to consensus? Or?
Yeah, sure. Apple Bloom.
Oh yeah, this is My Little
Pony.
Pony for sure.
Yeah, My Little Pony.
You're correct.
Yes.
Okay.
One for us.
Bambi Woods.
Porn star.
Yeah, porn star.
These are easier than last time.
Porn star. You guys.
I've been studying.
Yeah.
I told you, I've really
Cherry Blossom.
Pony.
Pony, I
It
think.
is.
Do you guys watch like a lot of?
Have you heard of bronies?
Yes.
My cousin is one.
Way too many bronies.
You have been hanging out with bronies?
No.
Oh, but that's how you know about it.
Yeah.
I was making a joke. Come on, go
It was
with
a good one.
Would you? Have you ever sessioned with a brony?
No.
We don't do furries.
No.
I don't get requests for
Furry's not a furry.
Do you know what furries are?
Yeah, but a brony just
But
comes in
brony
with a
is
My
like-
Little Pony.
Yeah,
Watches
but
like
I guess that
TV or whatever.
would go under like little play maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Baby play.
And I mean,
Or-
I've done that and I enjoy that, but I don't know, bronies.
Last time were so good.
Yeah.
Chocolate Stallion. This one's easy.
Has to be a porn star.
Porn star.
BBC.
Jeez, you guys haven't got one wrong.
I know.
Yeah,
you did it last
awesome.
time. Oh, this is going to be a hard one.
So this is the funny thing. The first time I did this game, I recognized like 2 of the names. I'm like,
Yes.
I must be watching too much porn. This time I did it, I recognized another name. I'm like, oh, there's
My Little Pony.
No, I don't recognize the My Little Ponies. I recognize the porn star. Harmony Rose.
I think that's a porn star.
Yeah, I'm a
so.
Yeah.
You have to step up your game, Nelson.
I thought I was picking some hard ones here. Heartthrob.
Porn star.
Ooh, porn star, I think.
Oh, this could be a trick one.
Because
They're not going to put
last
throb
name
as a
is
pony
Throb.
name.
You never know.
Heartthrob.
Okay, porn star.
Yeah, porn star.
Porn star.
Pony.
Oh, way!
Heartthrob.
You got this one wrong last time too.
Did I? Oh.
You were like Heartthrob's got to be a porn star. Who would name a pony Heartthrob?
Well, it must be a pony with a very large dick.
Heartthrob.
Maybe.
Heartthrob.
Okay, what is large?
For sure.
What's considered large?
Large?
Let's get into that.
Like
On a human or a pony?
A human. No bestiality.
like 9 inches, 10. That's
Holy
yeah.
shit. Jesus. That's huge.
big.
Okay.
So I would like to say one of the things I've learned doing this professionally is that average is a lot smaller than you would think average is.
Which
Average is like 3 inches, right?
Okay.
I'd say average is maybe 5.
5 1/4.
Okay, I was off.
In our, I mean, I know that that's different in different countries
Yeah,
and
but that's for
cultures as
Canada,
well.
5.
But Canada, 5 is average.
You don't have to answer
So-
this, but what do you prefer? I know what you prefer.
A strong tongue.
I've heard on the Touch Girls.
Yeah, strong
You
tongue.
heard on the Todd Shapiro show what I prefer?
Yes.
Obedience.
Well,
Obedience,
outside of
yeah.
that, I think 8+, right? If they're a little smaller than 8, it's a no-go.
Well, everyone says it's girth, not length, right?
Yes.
And I think
Okay.
there's truth to that.
Yeah.
Good manual dexterity.
Okay.
Pain
So
tolerance?
it's all in the hips then?
Very good linguistic skills.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
Yes.
Spoken like a true
Linguist-
dominant.
Yeah.
Honeysuckle.
Pony.
Pony. Yeah.
I was wishing that this one was a porn star, but it's a
Yeah,
pony.
that would have been hot.
Because honeysuckle would be.
That's totally
fun.
hot.
India Summer.
Porn.
Porn star.
Yeah, I recognize that one.
Yeah.
Lickety Split.
Pony.
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 What?
With the ice cream on
Are you
it.
guys
Yeah.
messed up?
Yeah.
No, it's...
Would you name a pony Lickety Split?
Yeah.
Well, isn't lickety like a southern term?
That's bullshit. You guys got it right. I thought you would get that one wrong for sure. Last one. Pinkie Pie.
I know.
Pony,
that's a pony for
obviously.
sure.
That
Come
has to
on.
be a pony.
Come
You guys
on.
only got one wrong.
Well,
We're
that's
really good at
because
this.
4 minds are better than yours.
Can you please quote that and put that on your Twitter? Like, it's beautiful.
That is a tweetable.
Yeah.
On that note, you just listened to the Nobody's Podcast, and these were ladies of the
Lotus.
Lotus.
LadyAzelle.com for the most gorgeous women in Toronto.
Who will beat you up?
Yeah.